All right, let's get right into it. So the top four race heats up, and Tottenham in not the best form going into this game. I mean, look at this. I mean, they haven't won in 3 games, so that's not good. And Manchester United, it's solid form. Won 3 out of the last 5 games, and that's quite good. So starting off with Tottenham, we knew both sides going to this game were going to be quite defensive. Um, so Tottenham, they pretty much sat back. But the first 10 minutes actually was pretty 50-50. Both teams kept giving away possession. So, you know, Tottenham really didn't have to defend, neither did Man United. But focusing on Tottenham, um, they didn't concede any shots in the first 10 minutes, which is very, very good from a defensive point of view. Um, and yeah, they didn't really invite any pressure on themselves. Although United did have this spell where they got up quite a few shots. I think it was like 2 to 3 shots, and Spurs nearly conceded. Um, and yeah, Spurs, Lloris made a brilliant save during that period, and yeah, Spurs kind of rode their luck a bit. But towards the end of the first half, Spurs looked more and more comfortable, and they were able to keep United at bay. They were compact, very very well organized, so Man United weren't able to get through it all, and yeah, did very very well. On to the second half. Spurs did more of the same. Very compact. Just a Mourinho masterclass. You'd probably call it. They didn't give Man United any space in behind at all. Um, but yeah, I think things did change though. When Man United brought on Paul Pogba, Spurs started getting opened up like a lot more. Manchester United kept pushing Tottenham back. Started pulling the defenders wide and forward and backwards, and just trying to like change the shape of their defense, which is very very impressive. Um, and yeah, because of this, Tottenham ended up conceding a penalty in the 80th minute. And yeah, so what happens is Eric Dier, he's being squared up by Pogba on the baseline. He gets beaten by skill, and he pulls Pogba down into the box. This is an individual error. You can't really blame anyone else for this. Um, so what do you do in this situation when a player is basically trying to beat you with skill? Well, try to keep yourself square, and also don't be too close to the player. Keep a certain distance between you and the player, but not too much that they have a lot of time to be able to be able to use other options. So kind of have a certain distance where like they can't really go anywhere, but at the same time you can sort of stop them from passing the ball out, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think it's all about positioning in that sequence, or in that position, have a double up. So have two players gang up on the one player so that they can't really do anything. That's what I would do. Um, and yeah, I think after this goal, I think Man United could have gone to score another game. So Tottenham did ride their luck out in this game. Um, and yeah, that was about it. So on to United. United, yeah, basically the same as Tottenham, 50-50 within the first 10 minutes. They gave up a lot of possession, but they didn't have to do a lot of defending because Spurs were very poor going forward. Um, and yeah, this was much like this until Man United actually conceded in the 27th minute. It was actually a mistake in midfield, and basically Spurs catch out United on the break, and I think it's Bergwijn that smashes it into the back of the net. There are a couple of things to talk about here. So there was a mistake in midfield, but also the defending at the back was very very poor. Bergwijn basically takes the ball from midfield, runs all the way into Man United's defense and scores. Maguire, he was caught at six and sevens. He was caught square, and he basically just gets beaten for pace. It was quite shocking, really. Um, but then also the goalkeeper as well. De Gea should have saved this shot. He goes to save the shot with his hand. I guess that's what he's supposed to do, but somehow the ball bounces up into the goal. I don't know what happened. I think it was just I don't know whether it was unlucky or like he didn't see the shot coming, but somehow he kind of half saves it, but it still goes in. So bad defending all around there. And yeah, as we go on, United didn't really have too much to worry about after that. It was basically just a smash and grab. So Tottenham just scored the goal, then they sat back deep again. So they didn't have to really do any defending after that. Um, but then there was one shot that Tottenham had. Son nearly makes it 2-0, I think just before halftime. And De Gea does make a brilliant save to keep the score down. It was a weird game because Spurs did have chances, but at the same time, they didn't really go forward that much. So it's really, it's a weird game to describe. But anyway, moving on to the second half, more of the same. Spurs looks really, no, sorry. Man United were pretty comfortable in defense because Spurs didn't venture forward that often. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's not really much more to say about that. Because the onus was on Manchester United to go and score, so they were controlling possession. They were getting more and more shots in. They were pushing Spurs deeper and deeper into their own half. Um, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Anything else I can say? Um, well, not really actually, to be honest. I guess what I can say is that the top four race is still on. Both sides still have a chance to make the top four. 8 games left, so there's still a lot of football to be played. So should be exciting stuff. And yeah, that's about it.